Went off a little at half. I mean, we gave up 5 layups on things that we had walked through and run through over the last 2 days, plus the walkthrough today. And I said, no, absolutely no layups on these. And 4 of them were things that we emphasized. And, you know, it's, again, I think it's the ball doesn't go in the basket. I'm not going to talk as much on defense. And, you know, they've got some, I thought they defended really well, but, you know, they got some holes on the offensive end, and we were in a position to be much tighter at halftime, even as poorly as we shot the ball, and I just thought we didn't, you know, the first couple possessions of the game, and we'd come out of a timeout, and I would say we're not giving up another layup on this particular action, and we gave up one twice. So to me, that's, with the level of experience that this team has, that's inexcusable. And so, yeah, I mean, that and free throw block out, I mean, you know, I half jokingly said we might as well go in the lane early because we're giving up 3 points on every time they get an and one, they shoot a free throw, and then they get another and one. And I know they're bigger and stronger, but you still have to make a better effort to time the release of the shot, be physical in both positions on the lane line. But I don't know. I know you counted probably how many we gave up, Matt, because you're more locked into that than I am. But like, it's unbelievable. I mean, that is not, you know. And then I saw a couple times where we did it really well, but. Like, I don't know, if 50 to 25 on the glass against Stanford doesn't get your attention, and again, some of that's we shot the ball really poorly, right? So they had they're going to have a lot more rebounds because we're not going to get, but, I mean, it wasn't what it needed to be, and, you know, just, yeah, but the first half, just our failure to take away some of the actions that we super emphasized over the last 2.5 days. And you know, it's easy to say, hey, we held them to 72, but, you know, that's where I'm disappointed. I mean, we got to get more twos, obviously, when you can't, you know, we got to be a little bit tougher at the rim and be in a little bit more of attack mode with the dribble. But that's less disappointing to me than. And I asked them point blank after the game, I said, who was the better communication team on the floor tonight? Was it Creighton or UConn? And I said, don't tell me what I want to hear. Tell me what you actually think. And every single one of them said that UConn was the better communication team. And I said, well, that's pretty darn disappointing when we're playing at home in front of a sellout crowd. And you're telling me that they were the better communication team. So some of it, you know, Gino said to me before the game, you know, expectations create more pressure. I know our players feel more pressure, but pressure doesn't, you know, abdicate you from communication. It takes. I can understand 3 for 28 as something related to pressure more than I can understand failure to communicate and failure to take away some of the actions that we said we weren't giving up layups on. So that's where I am. Probably as mad as you've seen me.
But
even with this.
Fair enough. Even with that being said, it felt like in the first half, or at least early in the second quarter, you guys the health is showing more.
Yeah.
Taking away some of that, and then to start the third quarter, I mean,
yeah.
They find themselves wide open in the post just alone. I guess what changed earlier?
I thought our fight wasn't what it, you know, I mean, I hate it when coaches say I'll need to look at the film. Mac does that a lot, doesn't he? But I don't know. It did seem like we fell down a couple times. I mean, Jamie fell down a couple times, and I don't know. I mean, I just thought we didn't fight at the level that I would have hoped that we would have. But yeah, I mean, I'm not saying we didn't do any good things defensively in the first half. It's just the disappointing thing to me in regard to double teams and forcing steals. But it was the actions that we said, hey, we are not giving up a layup on this because we're not going to help. And yet we didn't help and we gave up layups. I said, I don't care if they make a 17-footer. We're not giving up a layup because you didn't help. And we gave up 5 of them by my count in the first half. Yeah, the third quarter, I thought we hunted shots too. Like early in both quarters, we didn't have great possessions. I mean, the turnovers are great. We're at 6 and 5 turnovers the last 2 games. I mean, but hey, the ball has to go in the basket. And, you know, I told him we miss some of the sacrificial things that Tatum and Peyton did for us. The cutting, I mean, they're better passers than, they're probably the 2 best passers that we had. We have more kids who can create a shot, but we have to get better at sacrificing with the screen and the cut. And until we do that, we'll struggle against teams that are as long and as disciplined as Stanford and Connecticut.
Sure. And it felt like it took maybe 2.5 quarters before you guys really committed to cutting and attacking closeouts. I guess in your mind, why did it take so long?
I don't know. I mean, but I told him it's we're going to do some things a little differently. I mean, we're not panicking, but there's some things that are somewhat alarming to me as far as that goes. I thought our first 3 offensive possessions we shot really quick, and we talked about not doing that. I thought we took made really average plays early. So yeah, when we're moving and cutting, we're a lot better than when we're trying to make a play 12 seconds in the shot clock, and we've made that a point. But like I said, I told him, I mean, we may. It's not a lot. I'm not necessarily looking at changing somebody's minutes drastically, but we may look at different lineups. We may start a different group, because I feel like with that starting group, we're not making enough unselfish plays. So but I got to hold them more accountable. I'll take blame for that too.
Paul is going to goad you into taking quick shots.
Yeah.
Going to goad you into a firefight.
Yeah.
I guess with the time you have to reflect on this and then move on, like, how do you get that page turned enough to a degree where you're doing more unselfish things, being more deliberate in terms of looking for high quality stuff offensively, to not fall into that trap that they're going to try to set? Right.
Well, I mean, their length isn't the same as UConn and Stanford, so hopefully we're getting more layups. But yeah, we can't shoot as many threes early, I think, as we've been shooting. I mean, we didn't shoot as many the second half, and not that we were proficient in the second half, but we were better. I mean, so I think we've got to be willing to be, to put more pressure on the rim with the cut and the dribble, and I think we'll do that. I mean, I know I'm coming across like, but we've got to be just a little. I told him, I said, you're not a group of selfish players, but I thought tonight we played a little selfishly, and you'll see that from time to time. We have really good kids. They're great kids. They're fun to coach, but I just thought we played a little too much hero ball and tried to make plays earlier than we did, and therefore, like I told him, I said, I'm not disrespecting our starting lineup last year, but we didn't start our 5 best players last year, and it works. So we got to tinker with that. And I'm not promising that we're going to do that, but I think we've got to, like you said, we have to put more pressure on the rim with the cut and the dribble. And until we do that, I mean, we're probably not going to go 3 for 28 too often, but you got to see the ball go in sometimes on a layup before that 3 goes in. And if we'd have made a couple layups early, might have helped our 3-point shooting.
I mean, defensively speaking, this is not the first game that you've struggled guarding the post, and now you've got to guard another one with the ball.
Yeah.
What adjustments do you make?
I think we'll be able to give a little bit more help on DePaul just because they're not as big across the board. Like when you give help against UConn, they're a good enough offensive rebounding team. The more help you give, the more you open yourself up to offensive rebounds. So I think DePaul is a good offensive rebounding team, but not. But yeah, and the other part is just rotating people on Morrow. Morrow's 6'1". She's a really good player, but she's got to score through you a lot of times. And so I think last year when we beat them at their place, we rotated. Morgan didn't play when we played them in Omaha. So we were a little shorthanded in terms of just being able to match up with her. But we'll rotate fresh people on her. And I think just because the fact she's not 6'4" or 5, that's hopefully helpful.
Looking back to tonight, I know you attributed plenty of those misses from deep to rushing and maybe being a bit more selfish. But I guess how much credit do you give UConn's length and Aaliyah Edwards?
Sure. Yeah. No, for sure. They deserve a lot of credit for. I mean, the two teams we've played. I mean, their length is different than what we normally see, and they play really hard. I mean, Nika Mule she sets a great tone for them. I like, and Edwards battles. I mean, I think that kid's improved a ton. And Juhas is long. I mean, so certainly a lot of it had to do with them, but 3 for 28 is I could have gone out and shot 3 for 28, and Matt's seen me shoot.
Any further questions for Flanery?
Shoulder would have gotten tired.
Sorry, I do have some. You extended Keani a little bit.
Yeah.
How did you feel? How did you assess her repetitions?
Yeah, I liked what she did. I mean, she wasn't perfect, but I liked, I like what to me, she reminds me of Tatum. Like, she does a lot off the ball and she looks small, but she plays a little bigger, and she can figure out a way to score off the cut and off the dribble. And I think she's has the potential to play a lot. Maybe not this year or next year, but I think she's that kind of player where she just and defensively she gives us. I think she fights for a freshman and knows for the most part where she's supposed to be. I mean, I've been. So yeah, I'm excited about what I saw from her tonight, and Kennedy's fine too. I mean, Kennedy shoots it well. She had a couple go in and out, but she's doing, she's doing a lot of good things too. But yeah, Keani, I think that's, there weren't a lot of bright spots, but I think she was a bright spot.
And
top of Glenn's head is a bright spot.
Obviously, just thinking back to before the season, how excited the players were to play this schedule.
Yeah.
Now that you've hit some results that go against you, you can see how important they're taking this stretch. How do you keep UConn from beating you twice?
Yeah.
Because that's kind of probably maybe the most important part of this next couple of days, right?
Yeah, I mean, for sure. I mean, we're just gonna watch film and do some walkthrough tomorrow, and then they'll lift. So we're not gonna practice, and so win or lose, I was gonna be look, this should stay with you till about noon tomorrow, and then we gotta flip the page, and whether we'd won or played a lot closer, or in this case not been competitive, we'll be fine. I mean, like I said, I love our group. I mean, they're. And some of it falls on me. I think we're being stubborn about some things, and I got to be better at knocking that out of them a little bit, because I think our ceiling is still really high, but I think we're feeling some pressure. I mean, I said, raise your hand if you feel pressure, and I raised mine, and all the players, all the ones who are. I don't know if Lex did, but everybody who's in a uniform, and Brittany, but everybody's in a uniform so I think that's human nature, but I just said the controllables, we can be better at the controllables, and I don't think we're as focused on them as we should be, because I still think we have a really good team and a good group, but right now it's yeah, the schedule's, we're not feeling very good about ourselves, but that's, hopefully it only takes one game to get that back. Our league's really good, though. I mean, across the board, it's not going to be, beyond DePaul. It's like there's a lot of good teams in our league, but that's exciting. I mean, you're going to have to be sharp, and we're going to have to get better to have the kind of year that we want to have.
I mean, I know you talked about decreasing the number threes, but the way you shot through is also a huge part of your run last year. How do you balance that when you're having a stretch like this?
Yeah, it's tough because, I mean, I never in my wildest dreams would have thought we would be, what were we, 1 for 18 or 1 for 20 and a half?
1 for 20.
I saw 1 for 20, but then today on this it says 1 for 18, Glenn. Okay.
Just 21 your first 20.
Yeah, we got hot. We got hot down the stretch. I mean, most of them were good shots, I thought. I don't think we took a lot of bad threes. We took a few, but not. I'd say maybe 3 or 4, maybe 5. But you got to make more. And again, I think we got to be a little bit tougher at the rim, and we got to get that out of them a little bit. I mean, but some of that's on. We got to make that more of an emphasis as coaches. It's not. I'm not gonna blame the players entirely because, we don't win that game making 3 threes, even if we played really, really well in other areas. But we maybe could have won that game if we have 7 or 8 threes out of 28. But we'd had to be better and quite a bit better in some other areas. But yeah, that's who we are. But it can't be, especially on nights like this. It can't be. And the thing is, if you make some shots at the rim, it works both ways. If you put a little pressure on the rim, it should open up for even better threes than we're getting. So